Out of the many BattleBots we've seen over the years, a mere 10 of them have been flippers. In today's video, I'm going to review them and rank them down from number 10 to number 1. At the number 10 spot, we have Aegis. Now, I do feel a bit bad about putting a robot with only 2 career fights, both against decent opponents, down in last place, but I really can't put a robot with a 0% win record any higher, especially considering I got annihilated in both fights and didn't get to show off its flipper at all. Aegis was unfortunately just a poorly designed flipper which we'll probably never see again. Next up we have Basilisk. Now this is actually a pretty bad flipper as well, only having a 50% win rate, which is, to be fair, a lot better than 0%. The flipper actually did work, but only like once or twice, which is again slightly better than Aegis. It's a poorly designed robot, but it actually worked, so I can't put it in the last spot. I cannot believe I'm putting Ultimo Destructor, one of the most catastrophically bad robots of all time, in the number 8 spot, 2 spots higher than last place. But actually, as a flipper, we did see a lot more from it than Aegis and Basilisk. Actually got a few semi-decent flips in on Parallax in their fights, so you can't count it out too much in that aspect. Sure, the robot fell apart multiple times, it was slow, it was poorly driven, the flipper wasn't powerful at all, even if it did work. So Ultimo Destructor as a flipper is not good whatsoever. Surprisingly, it is actually in the number 8 spot. We've now got out of the absolutely useless category, thank goodness for that, into number 7, which is Banshee. Now Banshee are a newcomer for World Championship 7. They did, I would want to say okay, but to be honest, they didn't do that great really. They had 1 win out of their 4 qualifying round matches. Overall they had 2 wins out of 6 fights from Season 7 and Golden Bolt 2 and all that malarkey. The flipper was a spring-loaded one, I think, which just made it super duper weak. It wasn't very durable, it wasn't very well driven, but it did get wins. It beat Valkyrie, which, you know, fair enough, that's a pretty decent robot to beat. So yeah, it's definitely more effective, more reliable, and just more competent than the previous 3 robots, that's for sure. But Banshee, I can't place it any higher. Maybe if it improves over time, gets some more wins in the future, I might be able to push it up a bit, but for now I think Banshee deserves the number 7 spot. Now I'm putting P1 in the 6th place. Now they've actually had some pretty decent wins. You know, they've beaten Valkyrie, they've beaten Hypershock, which, you know, pretty decent robots to beat. P1 is also pretty much robbed of their spot in the 2021 bracket, so, you know, you've got to give them a bit of credit. They could have made it a bit further into the competition than they have done. Having said that, the flipper was not powerful whatsoever. It was a front hinge flipper, which is nice to see, but it just wasn't very effective. Self-rated alright there, but couldn't flip as amazing as others in quite a few fights. It looked cool, I like the designs, looked very sleek. Probably the best designed flipper on this list in my personal opinion. But even so, I think P1 is definitely edging on the pretty decent category on this list, but I think P1 is just missing out on the top half. At number 5 we have Subzero. Now this actually has a slightly worse record than P1 in the number 6 spot. It only has 32% win percentage, which, while that isn't great, they've actually had some pretty decent performances. They beat one in a fight for starters very convincingly. They've also beaten Malice, they've beaten Valkyrie. You know, some pretty decent wins. Yeah, it wasn't the most reliable or just all-round competent flipper in the world, but actually did have a bit of power to it, as we've seen in various fights. I think it's entertaining, I quite like the design. I think Subzero is a very underrated robot. I think it deserves the number 5 spot. At the number 4 spot, I'm putting Lucky. Lucky had a really good season the last time around. They had 3-1 qualifying rounds, which is good. They've had some great wins. It's also a pretty powerful flipper as well. It's like that 4-bar flipper design, which is also cool. Well driven. It's an entertaining robot, it's a fan favourite, and it's no surprise really. They haven't had the best success in the time, they haven't had deep bracket runs or anything, but it's a really fun, enjoyable flipper to watch. It works, and yeah, it's definitely a lot better than the likes of Subzero, P1 and all the robots back in the lower end of this list. So I think this is a fair spot for it. Now we've gotten into the properly good flippers. At number 3 we have Blip. Now Blip's actually a pretty recent machine. They came about in Season 6. They've only had 2 seasons to prove themselves. They definitely made a statement. The flipper's really powerful, very well designed with that sort of flywheel flipper mechanism on the inside, which, you know, bonus points for that. Solid wins against the likes of Valkyrie, Jackpot, Lockjaw, former champions Tantrum, maybe the same team of course. So it's actually a pretty well accomplished flipper, made the quarterfinals in Season 6. It's a very solid machine, and yeah, one of my personal favourite flippers on this list. Number 2, Bronco. Now I know a particular viewer has a certain obsession, should we call it, with this machine, but I mean, with that aside, I'm not going to lie, this is a fantastic robot. Absolute BattleBots classic, 2015 semi-finalist, which is their best placement, but they've had other pretty good bracket runs as well. It's one of the most powerful flippers in just robot combat, full stop. Only really rivaled and powered by Hydra and maybe Blip to an extent. Yeah, it's a BattleBots classic, like I said. You really can't knock Bronco too far down this list, even if it did sort of fall off towards the end of its career. Number 1, undoubtedly, is Hydra. 74% wins, multiple deep bracket runs. This is the only flipper on this list which I genuinely think could win BattleBots if they play their cards right. No one can flip as high as they can. Few flippers, or a few robots in general, are as low as they are to the ground in terms of ground game. They're super durable. It's just the most competitive flipper possible to make. And yeah, that is showcased by its amazing success. It's also super entertaining because of how powerful that flipper is. It's made Death Roll pretty much hit the ceiling, which no other flipper has done before. And that speaks for itself, really, doesn't it? Hydra, number 1. Bronco is good. Blip, an upcoming star. Even so, Hydra is, without a shadow of a doubt, the best BattleBot with a flipper. So that brings us to the end of this video. Do you agree with my rankings? Well, I hope so, because I ain't doing this again. Let me know in the comments what you thought. Sorry, Jonathan F, for putting Hydra over Bronco. It had to be done. If you thought that P1 and Subzero could have been swapped around, I could see your point. I just couldn't bother to explain that when I was actually ranking them. Even so, I think this ranking seems pretty fair. So yeah, that's all from me. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, comment, remix, because that's the thing apparently. Do all that good stuff. I'll see you next time.